Hey, it's John from Tech Today. We are excited to announce that our sector sentiment analysis is live. So we have 14 different technology sectors here that we've pulled into the tool. They are built off of the 13 macro indicators that we pull into the tool that you see here on the left. These are the same indicators that I've talked about in the past that drive our high-level Tech Today Pulse sentiment score, which the way to think about this is it's sort of a macroeconomic, capital market, all-encompassing sentiment score. And you could essentially build your own high-level score by playing with the different weightings that we bring into the tool. Sector sentiment is a little bit different in that the calculations are more data-driven, granular. They're largely derived from the different heuristics that I've talked about in some of our other videos that we pull into each of the macroeconomic indicators. So for whether it's GDP, PCE, we pull in a series of heuristics for each of the 13 macro indicators. If you just kind of click through, they all have a series. This consumer sentiment that we brought in today. This is sort of an aggregate score. It takes Michigan. It takes the conference board. You can find this on the Fed's database, and that's the API that we pull into our tool. And so these heuristics power the scores that we generate for each of the 14 technology sectors that we have here. And we have a different set of rules around how each of those macro indicators impacts each sector. Big investors, that different macroeconomic indicators, will impact AdTech differently versus enterprise software, differently versus SMB software versus cybersecurity, so on and so forth. And so we've brought those rules into the tool. I'll publish the methodology at some point. I need to think through how I want to visually display the methodology. I'll probably write about it first on Tech Today, and then we'll figure out a way to present it right here on the tool if you want to download it and read through it. And to be honest, hat tip to OpenAI. OpenAI was very helpful. By the way, we're using the Pro model. If you're interested in the newest OpenAI model, we're using O3, which at the moment is the best coding model, and it runs neck and neck with Google Gemini 2.5. And so we used OpenAI to not only pull the heuristics into the tool, but to run a lot of the back-end calcs that we applied to each of the 13 macroeconomic indicators. I'll just tell you that of the 13 macroeconomic indicators, the three that have the most influence, given that this is a sort of it's a tech-centric index or tech-centric sentiment analysis. The three big ones are the 10-year Treasury yield, the VIX, and then the moving average on the NASDAQ composite. So those have an outsized influence versus the other 10 macroeconomic indicators that we pull into the tool. And I think the next job, there are a number of other APIs that I want to vet that are also macroeconomic indicators. But the next mission, if you will, is to pull in sector-specific data. I think I'm going to have the most luck on the software side and on the Fintech side, whether it's credit card spend, things like this. There are some fairly high quality premium data sets, commercialized data sets that you could pull in, and it's just a question of I want to acquire data sets that make sense, that add value, and I also want to acquire ones that maybe you're not going to find on other platforms. That's not to say that every data set we pull into the tool is going to be unique, because that won't be the case. Most data sets that we pull in will obviously be data sets that other folks have the ability to pull in. Otherwise, an API wouldn't exist. So it's not going to be purely unique to us. But I want to collect a mix of data streams such that in the aggregate, it presents sort of a unique view from an analytical standpoint to portfolio managers, analysts, and your other folks that'll be interested in using the tool. I think there are a couple areas where we could pull in some unique stuff. I think, for example, the work we've done on transcripts, our transcript offering, that could be interesting. And then our CEO Radar platform that we rolled out several years ago, which is sort of in hibernation. Really easy to revive that with AI, and really easy to incorporate CEO scores once we get to a point where we're rolling in security level analytics into the platform. But I think it's going to be several months anyway before we roll in security level analysis. There's a lot to do in terms of sector level analysis and how we could enrich these data sets. At the moment, 100% of the APIs that we're pulling in are macro data sets, and they're free data sets. I'd say 95% of what we pull in you could find on the Fed's database. There's the St. Louis Fed, FRED. That's the genesis of much of our API data. And we're just trying to present that data in a way maybe that's a bit unique, analyze that data in a way that's a little bit differentiated to try to provide something that is unique to the market. So at the moment, this is a free offering, depending on the level of sector information that we pull in, whether it's free or whether it's at cost to us, will determine whether or not we charge for certain outputs as it relates to further sector analysis that we do. And I think at the tail end of that effort around bringing in further sector level data, sort of at the end of that process, that's when we'll introduce user level capability, so that you'll be able to sign up for an account, free or otherwise, and personalize what you're looking at. So some of these sectors just you don't care about at all. You won't have to look at them, so you'll be able to customize the dashboard, in other words. And some of the analytics that we roll in at a sector level, you'll be able to, frankly, create your own analytics. We'll just give you the data, and then you could mash the data together how you find most interesting. So just an update on that. That's live now. Visit us today at T2D Pulse. See you next time.